Welcome to this explainer. Look, we are officially entering the 100-year era. And because of that, the whole medical world is aggressively shifting its focus. It's no longer just about extending our lifespan, it's all about maximizing our health span. So today, we're diving straight into the groundbreaking metabolic science behind optimizing our bodies, specifically our skeletal muscles and cellular engines, so we can literally thrive for a century. We're going to unpack the real secret to muscle health in the 100-year era.
Now, when you hear muscle health, you probably picture, massive bodybuilders or just getting totally jacked, right? But here's the thing. Do you actually need huge muscles to stay healthy until you're 100? Well, the latest longevity research says absolutely not. It totally flips this traditional myth on its head. When scientists look at centenarians, people living past 100 in amazing shape, they find these folks actually have relatively smaller but incredibly efficient physiques. They aren't lugging around massive bulk. Instead, their bodies possess what we call metabolic economy. They minimize metabolic waste and maximize energy efficiency, which honestly protects them from all the cellular stress and oxidative damage that comes with constantly maintaining a massive amount of tissue.
So what this really boils down to is the crucial difference between muscle quantity and muscle quality. For the longest time, we judged aging health just by looking at sheer muscle quantity, using things like DEXA scans to measure pure physical bulk. But honestly, mere bulk, it's a pretty terrible predictor of real-world longevity. The true predictors of a long, active life are found in muscle quality. We're talking about your grip strength, your walking speed, and how mechanically sound your muscle fibers actually are. Some recent data even points to cellular hydration, literally how much intracellular water you have, as a massive indicator of quality. A hydrated cell means a perfectly intact cell membrane. It's really not about the size of your muscle factory, it's about how flawlessly that factory operates.
And that brings us to the ultimate villain of aging, myosteatosis. Basically, this is ectopic fat. It's fat that abnormally builds up directly inside and between your muscle fibers. Think of it exactly like rust gumming up the gears of your muscle factory. And it doesn't just sit there passively. It acts like an active organ, constantly leaking out these nasty inflammatory cytokines. This creates a highly toxic, inflamed environment that ruins local blood flow, wrecks your insulin sensitivity, and physically blocks your muscles from contracting the way they should. This rust is the core reason we lose functional power as we get older.
Now, if myosteatosis is the rust, then your mitochondria are the hero engines of your cells. They dictate the ultimate quality of your muscle. Normally, as we age, these engines take on oxidative damage and start to sputter out. But centenarians? They have this brilliant biological trick up their sleeves. Their mitochondria display an unbelievable adaptive metabolic flexibility. To stop fatal oxidative damage from free radicals, their cellular engines intentionally trigger something called mild uncoupling. It's kind of like a car engine running just a tiny bit cooler so it doesn't overheat and blow a gasket. It drops the absolute energy output just a little bit, but dynamically protects the cell from irreversible damage. It's prioritizing long-term survival over peak horsepower.
All right, so we understand the factory. Now, how do we actually upgrade it? Let's dive into Switch 1 strategic exercise.
To physically rebuild this factory from the ground up, we absolutely need a dual approach. You really can't just pick one. First up, resistance training. This gives your body the mechanical load it needs to trigger the mTORC1 pathway. That's essentially your body's build muscle now button, the direct biological signal that synthesizes new proteins. But you have got to pair that with aerobic exercise, like cycling or swimming. The aerobic stuff is what burns away that inflammatory rust, the myosteatosis, while simultaneously boosting a crucial coactivator called PGC1 alpha. PGC1 alpha is literally the biological spark plug that triggers the birth of brand new, perfectly healthy mitochondria. You need both to win.
And that leads right into a really fascinating modern concept, high-energy flux, eat more, move more. For decades, older adults were told to just eat less and move less to avoid getting hurt or gaining weight. But actually, extreme low-calorie diets cause serious nutrient deficiencies and completely accelerate muscle loss. The new, science-backed approach is maintaining a high-energy flux. By eating more and moving more, you safely channel all those rich calories directly into tissue repair and mitochondrial energy generation, bypassing fat storage entirely. It keeps your metabolic rate running at a youthful, highly dynamic level.
Which naturally brings us to our second pillar, Switch 2, sleep for recovery.
We really need to completely shift how we think about sleep. It is not just some passive state where you power down. It's a highly aggressive, active, overnight maintenance phase for your cellular factory. If exercise is the architectural blueprint, sleep is the construction crew actually doing the work. And missing a shift? Disastrous.
Clinical studies using precise isotope trackers show that just one single night of sleep deprivation causes a massive 18% drop in your muscle protein synthesis rate. 18% from one night. Your body basically panics, enters a state of anabolic resistance, spikes your stress hormone cortisol, and actively tears down your hard-earned muscle, all while your essential growth hormones just plummet.
So how do we lock this down without relying on sleeping pills? It takes 3 clinical sleep hygiene steps to perfectly align your circadian rhythms. Step 1. Keep a strict sleep and wake schedule. This minimizes your biological clock's margin of error and ensures you get that peak natural growth hormone release right around midnight. Step 2. Perfect darkness and temperature control. Even a tiny sliver of light messes with your melatonin, and keeping the room cool shifts your nervous system straight into repair mode. Finally, step 3. The bed is for sleep only. No smartphones, no TV. You want to neurologically wire your brain so that the second your head hits that pillow, you are out cold.
All right, moving on to our final pillar. Switch 3, the Mito diet. This is the big nutritional switch. We created the demand with exercise, we set up the repair shop with sleep, and now we need to supply the absolute best raw materials to feed those cellular engines. The golden foundational rule here? The 20 gram per meal minimum. See, as we get older, our muscles literally become deaf to the signals of protein, falling into that state of anabolic resistance we just talked about. The standard daily recommended allowance? That's just a baseline to survive, not optimal health. To pierce through that noise and actually trigger muscle building, older adults need a much higher minimum dose of leucine-rich protein. We're talking at least 20 to 25 grams, evenly distributed at every single meal.
So what does a practical, slow-aging Mito food plan actually look like? Well, it's incredibly balanced. Breakfast could be Greek yogurt with a handful of berries, giving you that high-protein hit without spiking your insulin, plus antioxidants to clear out overnight oxidative stress in the brain. Lunch? Maybe quinoa and wild salmon for complex carbs and omega-3s. Dinner should be a bit lighter. Think tofu and colorful veggies to ease your digestive burden before bed while still feeding your gut microbiome. This structure perfectly supplies exactly what your mitochondria crave without overloading your system with refined sugars. But here is a crucial missing link that sports nutritionists are totally obsessing over right now: the pre-sleep protein protocol. Look, when you sleep for 7 to 9 hours, you obviously aren't eating. So your body naturally slips into a catabolic state where it breaks down muscle for amino acids. But if you consume 20 to 40 grams of a slow-digesting protein, like a high-quality casein or whey blend, just 30 minutes before bed, you can entirely block that overnight breakdown. It safely drives up your muscle synthesis while you sleep without ruining your sleep quality whatsoever. Honestly, it's a total game changer.
Along with protein, we absolutely cannot forget the engine protectors: phytonutrients, clean fats, and omega-3s. To stop those mitochondria from burning out and to prevent that cellular rust, we have to fuel up on dark leafy greens, extra virgin olive oil, and healthy fats. Why? Because these specific nutrients hand our bodies the exact raw enzymatic materials needed to naturally synthesize glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's literally an absolute shield for your cellular engines, neutralizing toxic free radicals before they even have a chance to cause cellular fatigue or insulin resistance. And all of this incredible science really leads us to one ultimate destination: your metabolic precision.
If we're prepping for a 100-year lifespan, we have to permanently shift our overarching goal. We have to stop this exhausting, endless pursuit of superficial muscle bulk and focus entirely on achieving ultimate cellular harmony. It's about precision, not just volume. This whole ecosystem of longevity is made of 3 equal, inseparable slices: exercise, sleep, and diet. You can't out-train a terrible diet. You absolutely can't supplement away chronic sleep loss, and you definitely can't sleep your way to new muscle without mechanical tension. But when you carefully balance these 3 metabolic switches, you perfectly optimize your internal factory. You keep your muscles strong, your mind sharp, and your metabolic engines humming flawlessly for the 100-year era.
So I'll leave you with this one final provocative question to think about. What small change will you make tonight to optimize your cellular engine? Is it tweaking your bedroom temperature for a perfect night's rest? Are you going to try that pre-sleep protein protocol? Or maybe you'll lock in that dual approach workout for tomorrow morning. The science is incredibly clear, the switches are right in front of you, and the power to rewrite your metabolic future is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see you optimize your health span.